Okay, I'm so glad I got my Wi-Fi to work out here. I'm in my car because my very old brick farmhouse is being worked on today, and my kids are at my mom's house, and I'm parked in her front yard. And this is just where I get to be. I'm going to talk about Enchanting Nicolette and also the rest of the Everstone Chronicles. And I really am waiting for questions, I guess. Hi, Carolyn. I can't wait to really meet you in real life someday when you're back in America. Or maybe I'll come to Australia. How's that sound? Let's see. Yeah, I'm in my car. And this is what we're going to discuss. Mostly, I guess, if you guys have questions, or I'm not really sure how we're all going to do this. Hi, Kaylee. I am going to give away some books from the comments that pile up. So I think I'm going to give away 5. I have 5 books. I have the first book in the series is The Hesitant Heiress. The second one is The Bound Heart. The third one is The Captive Imposter. The fourth one is The Cautious Maiden. And then, of course, the fifth one that just released is actually a novella / short story. It's, let's see, 53,000 words. Isn't really a novella, but I got it as long as I could. And it's probably technically called a short story now. But my publisher was perfectly fine with that. They probably would have loved me to write a full novel, but I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I had to take a break when that 2-year-old was born. And so, breaking myself into writing again, I decided to just wrap up the series with a novella. And also, originally, it actually was a part of this novella collection, which actually was only available in Kindle for about 3 months, from March to June. So my Enchanting Nicolette is in here, and everybody that ever was able to get this for $1 over the summer actually could only get the ebook. But because we're the authors, we could order paperbacks. So I'm also going to give away one of these, which has 7 novella / short stories in them. And Enchanting Nicolette is included in this. Let's see. Readers. I think readers really love to fall in love with the hero in my books because it's written from first person. Each book is a different heroine. And I love to introduce the last person on earth that she would ever think that she would ever fall in love with. And then I make her fall in love with him. And I think readers really think that's fun. And I wouldn't say they're not, they're clean books, but there is definitely some good tension in my books that's clean and fun, but it's, I think readers love that stuff. Hi, Heather. Hi, Angela. Let me see. Oh, Ashley, thank you for reading the novella. Oh, there it is. I hope you enjoy the rest of them, too. My inspiration for Nicolette. Let's see. I have only written these. Okay. I've only written these 5 books. Like, when I first started writing, because I could not get pregnant, and this was the book I wrote. The first book I ever wrote was right there. And number 2 is number 2, and number 3 is number 3, and number 4 is number 4, and number 5 is number 5. So I've been thinking about Nicolette for a very long time. so I started writing The Hesitant Heiress in 2010, so 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago, I guess. These are the characters that I have known all through my writing, and I just, when they're a side character in one of the books where the heroine only sees them from first person point of view, but there's a whole nother layer of what's going on for that character, and I just love finding it out. And so I knew when she was terribly widowed on her wedding day. Like, it broke my heart to write that part of that second book, but that was very detrimental to the book. So to have her get her happy ending was very important to me, and I knew it needed to be someone who seemed a mixture of irresistible yet a little bit dangerous. And so she doesn't want dangerous. Her husband got murdered on her wedding day, so she does not want danger. But I love changing her mind. That's my favorite thing. Let me see. Hi, Caitlin. Hi, Susie. Yes, chemistry. Yeah, Angela got it right. Chemistry is what people love. And so that is what I love to write. I love writing chemistry. And if I can't get the chemistry right, I will start again and fix it. And so I know I just have like this, I don't know, this gauge inside of me that I know if things are right or not. So that's also what really frustrates me with some other books where I'm just like, ugh, this just seems a little off. But it's just fun. Let's see. I'm waiting for more questions, I think. Let me turn my car off. There. That's not so loud now. And I think, well, the sun is moving on me. So the sun is shining right on me now. Let's see. Yeah, that's my favorite part. And oh man, getting them to kiss them is really fun. Sometimes they're like, what am I doing? They are more fun if they're read in order. I purposely wrote them so that if someone picked them off the shelf at the library and they just like randomly picked one and said, that sounds good. I wrote it so that it would make sense all by itself and be okay as a standalone novel. But if you pile them all in a row and read them from front to back, you get a whole lot more out of everything because you just see how things work together. I mean, it's just an added bonus, I guess, for reading them in order, but it's totally not needed, I guess. Well, hi, Rachel. How did I get started? Did I miss it? Okay. How did I get started writing? I've always wanted to write a book. And like someone else asked, how did I pick first person? The first book that I ever read that I absolutely fell in love with, like the first page, was Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. And that's written in first person. And you just, everything unfolds before her. And as the reader, you just are on the same page as her the whole time, figuring everything out. And I just loved that so much. And I knew someday I wanted to write a book, and I wanted it to be written from first person. And so when I started writing, I did not do it to get published. I did it because I always wanted to write a book just for myself. And also, let's see. Well, I was having trouble getting pregnant, and I was in my early 30s, and my husband found out. He didn't know about my secret little dream of writing a book someday. When he found out about it, he told me to quit my job and to just stay home and write a book. And so I wrote The Hesitant Heiress, and he then sent me to my first ACFW conference in 2011 after I spent 2 years, or almost 2 years, writing that book. And I met with 2 agents at that conference, and both of them asked for a partial proposal, and both of them offered to represent me, like, within a week or 2 of getting my partial proposal. And so I had to choose an agent, and then about 2 years after that is when I got the book contract. And then also, I was 6 months pregnant at the time when it happened with my first son. And so I've been doing the books and the babies all at the same time now. But now that God's put me on this track, and I always figured I'd write a book once my kids got older and stuff. But then I got married later, and then I started having kids later, and I was just like, well, that's not going to happen at all, is it? Like the way I thought. And so I really think that God knows my heart so well. He knows I probably never would have got around to it if I did babies first and then books. So yeah, God put it all there in His order. And yeah, how do I find time? I actually live in my hometown where my parents live. And so I take my children, I have a 2-year-old and 4-year-old now. They're both boys. I take them to my parents' house a couple days a week, and I will go lock myself in the library. The local library here has a whole hallway full of rooms that you can just reserve and lock yourself in. And so I lock myself in a room, which is me and my computer and my notebooks, and I get it done. And I also write on my phone a lot, like at night, and just if I have time, like even if I'm hanging out at my dad's house with the kids, I will get 1,000 words done hanging out. So it just piles up eventually. I am working on a book now that is, I'm calling it A Reckless Pursuit, and I'm pretty sure that's probably what it'll be called. But it's not part of the Everstone Chronicles, but it takes a character that readers a reader would have met them reading a couple, I think the book 3 is when she's introduced. So her name's Roxy Blakely, and she is who I'm writing about now. And it's a separate standalone novel that she's in a new place, new people, so it's like completely unrelated to the Everstone Chronicles, but it's someone that readers that have read the series already would recognize as someone they've seen in the other books. Let's see. Yeah, the first person thing, because I wasn't writing it for the market, I had kind of looked into, like, before I actually started writing The Hesitant Heiress, I had looked into, writing websites, I guess. I mean, this was in the early 2000s, or 2005 or 2006 and 7 and 8. So all those years I was thinking about writing a book after my husband found out about it. But then it was more like I was just trying to figure out how to write a book. And I was studying. I was reading everything that I could get my hands on, like Christian fiction-wise. And especially new stuff, because I loved the new stuff that was starting to come out in like 2005, which was when I got married. And so everybody said that as a new writer, you shouldn't write in first-person point of view. And I don't know why they said that, but I was just like, I don't care what they're saying, because this is just the only way that my brain thinks up a story, is having everything unfold, and the hero is relating to the heroine, but everything that she ever learns about him is just like in real life when you're learning everything. And I think that's part of the thrillingness, I guess, or the chemistry, is that everything is so, I don't know, direct in what is he doing and thinking. And so I think I do a good job. A lot of readers say, like, even though they don't get the hero's perspective, they really can tell what he's thinking and doing, just like we do in real life. Like when you meet a guy and you end up marrying him, it's kind of like a puzzle. Like, what is going on here? And then it all works out and you figure it out. Let's see. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Heidi. Hi, Laura. Hi, Caitlin. Thanks for reading Enchanting Nicolette. I'm so glad you're going to read the rest of them. Hi, Luann. Let's see. Yeah. I guess I'll talk more about Roxy. Roxy is, well, I'll talk about how hard it was to write a novella. Oh my goodness. It was hard. Like, you'd think that it would be shorter, so it would be easier. But it was hard. I had to start it like 5 different times because even it is 53,000 words, which is not really a novella. It's more like a short story. I write long books. They're like, I guess they're anywhere between 80 and 95,000 words is the word count on the first 4. So I had to restart this novella like 5 times because I have this process of unfolding the story at the beginning, and I just do it. And so it was really hard to like pick up my pace and just make it go faster. And so finally, and I outline a lot. Like, I have to outline the entire book. Like, if I didn't outline number 4 before I was pregnant with my 2-year-old, there's no way I could have written it as fast as I did. So I know I just need to outline. And I didn't do a super good job with the novella because I just figured it's short. I'll just do it. But that didn't work out. And so it wasn't until I was like halfway done writing it that I put the whole story together, I guess. And then I was like, oh, the missing piece was that there was a part that I had scheduled in my outline, kind of my outline, towards the end of the book, but it really needed to be at the beginning of the book. And so as soon as I got that into place, the whole thing worked out right, and I was on a roll. Thank you, Becca. I'm glad you loved it. Let's see. Plotters amaze you. Haha, Rachel. You Pantsers amaze me. How the heck do you do that? I don't know. I've tried to do pantsing, and it just is stressful, and I don't like it at all. Yeah, I know. This is basically the length of a love-inspired novel. So this is my one short story that I'll do ever, because I just need a long book to write. Oh, how did the novella collection come together? So this is my paperback version of the novella collection that I'm going to give away to one of you commenters. Let's see. I was taking a break from writing, kind of, and I just kind of wanted to work on something just to keep my brain going, but not anything like serious. And so I actually was going to write the novella about Roxy, but then the more I tried to think up her story and outline it, it was way too complicated. And so, actually, some of the authors in this collection, I forget who it was, if it was Pepper, maybe Pepper Basham's in here, and they just asked, like, they were just putting it together for fun, and just kind of more like a, hey, these are random, not random, I guess, they're stories that take place all through history, and so they kind of put it together on purpose to be like different eras and different styles. And so it wasn't like a Barber, which I almost was signed up to do a Barber collection, but I just knew I couldn't write a story in 20,000 words. And they would have wanted me to do it from third person, and I really didn't want to do it. So I backed out, and I actually put my friend Rebecca Jepson into the proposal. And it's out. I think it's the Lighthouse Brides or something collection that just came out recently with Barber. So I was almost in that collection, and I decided not to do it. And so I was kind of bummed about that. But then they came to me about this, and this was perfect because it was like, hey, write whatever you want in your own style. And I don't know, my publisher doesn't really do a lot of huge, like, the book's only $2 now kind of thing on Kindle. And so my first book's only $3.82, I think, on Kindle. And that's just the kind of normal price, just to be the first in the series. So that's how I came a part of this. And Rosanna White made this for us. And this is how thick it is. I think it's 745 pages and 7 different stories. So that's how I was part of that. Let's see. I don't know. I think most of them in here are actually, regular length novellas, and mostly from third person. But I think Sarah Monson, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, Sarah, but hers is first person, and hers is, I think, 20,000 words. But hers is the contemporary one too. She writes really good contemporary first person. Let's see. I need more questions. Let me see. Is this going till 4? I don't know. Let's see. Anybody have any questions? I've talked a lot about everything. I guess my plans for... Oh, okay. My favorite book. I have a lot of favorite books, like Rebecca that I mentioned. Gone with the Wind I love. Jane Eyre, Pride and Prejudice. All the classics, I love them. Oh! Thank you for asking that, Melanie. Let's see. Let me go. Yes, I have it. I do still have my agent with Heartline. Let's see. How do I research history? I don't know. I just get lost in history. I love it so much. It's just my happy place, I guess. It doesn't feel like research. It just feels like, wow, this is so awesome. I wish I could experience all this firsthand. And so writing it is my way of doing that, I guess. My favorite character that I've written. This probably won't surprise some of you, but it's probably Vance Everstone, which is really funny because when I wrote The Bound Heart, which he has a very big part in, I hated his guts. And so I hated him. He was like awful and like awful. Oh gosh. But you know what? As soon as I was finished writing The Bound Heart, I knew that he had to have a story someday. He had to turn around. And so he was another one of those characters like Nicolette, where way before I ever wrote his story, I knew what his story would be about. I just didn't know exactly what it would be about. And so he is an awful person in book 2, but in book 4, he's the hero. And he was fun. He was so fun to write. He surprised me so much, and I think that's why I love him so much. And it's amazing that other people, like all my readers, love him. Well, I can't say all of them, but a lot of them, they just were like, wow, I can't believe you made me love him when I hated him. I'm like, I know what you mean. And so, yeah. If you want to know more about that, you should read the books. Let's see. There was a couple. Oh yeah, the cover for Enchanting Nicolette. because everybody that was a part of the novella collection was either, I think they were almost all releasing them on their own, like self-published wise. And since my books are traditionally published, I kind of was thinking about publishing it myself, but I really have no idea how to do it. Even if I've been given all the instructions, and it still just overwhelms me and makes me want to have a nervous breakdown. And so, when I started thinking about getting somebody to make a cover, and I'm kind of a control freak, so I was like already looking for pictures and putting things together on my phone. And I needed this though. Like I called my publisher and I said, "Hey, if I publish this book on my own, I want it to match the others." And so I wanted this because they all have this on them. And so I found this picture, and I found this picture, and I used like 5 different apps on my iPhone and my iPad, like sending them back and forth. And I'll find a picture of it. I have a picture of them side by side. I'll show you. So I made this on my phone, and it says under the mock cover, it says The Captive Imposter, because I just cut it off that page, or that picture. And so this is what they made, the graphic artist, which, I mean, they made it 100 times better. This is just me piecing pictures together, and this is them making it look gorgeous. But that was my contribution to the Everstone book covers. I don't know if you can see it. So, yeah. It's almost like I made it, but they really made it, and they made it look really good. Let's see, where am I? Advice for writers. Join ACFW, first of all. That's the first thing I did when I was about to finish my book. And, well, I mainly joined ACFW so that I could get the discount on the conference, because my husband was sending me to the conference, and I was just like, that's scary. I don't want to go. And it was in St. Louis. I live in northeastern Indiana. And I had to find a way to get, I don't like to drive. And so, I mean, I drive. I don't like to drive long distances. Like 2 hours is good enough for me. And so getting to St. Louis was scary. And I had a ride lined up, and then they decided not to go. And it was somebody I didn't even know. And then some other people in Indianapolis were like, "Oh, we're putting together a van." And I was like, "Okay, I'll come." So I drove to Indy and got in their van and drove to St. Louis with them. But ACFW is amazing. Just if there's one thing you need to do first thing, I mean, I didn't do it first thing. I actually wrote the first book, and then I joined ACFW. But having the scribes loop, the critique group, that was the first critique anything that I'd ever experienced. And it actually taught me how to self-edit. And so it helped me a lot. And it's also where I met Joanna Politano, one of my critique partners, and also Susan Tuttle, whose book just released yesterday or the day before. It's called At First Glance. And it's her first book, and I read it years ago when she was working on it, and I'm so glad it finally got published, and it's good. It's contemporary romance, but look it up. It's really good. And Joanna, I'm sure everyone knows Joanna, because she's super duper 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 popular. Will I always write historicals? I actually have 3 chapters of a contemporary romance, but I don't know if it will ever see anybody's eyes, except for like the 5 people that have seen it so far. I wrote it before I was ever pregnant with Rhett, which he was born about 4 months before The Hesitant Heiress came out. So this was written a long time ago, like 5+ years ago. And my grandfather was dying, and I was in the middle of writing The Captive Imposter, and I just couldn't write it and also help my mom deal with taking care of my grandpa at his house. And so I just had to stop thinking about the captive imposter, and I just was mostly focused on my family. And let's see, I just started thinking about it just to like keep my brain going. And so I wrote 3 really nice, awesome first 3 chapters of this book. But I don't really know how it ends, because everything can be solved with a cell phone in the contemporary world. So I don't know how to make things like, oh no, how is this gonna happen and be happy? It's like, oh, it just works out so easy in our world. It's so much easier to have complications in historicals. So I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day, but it would be neat if it did. But my publisher doesn't actually publish contemporary romance. They only do historical. So yeah, I'd have to really go pitch it around too. But then they'd be like, "You're a historical writer. Why are you writing this?" Let's see. I kind of answered your question, Caitlin. Yeah, my genre is romance. I just love it. I love putting 2 random people that don't seem like they should be together, and I love them, make them fall in love. Yeah. And even the contemporary, that is definitely a romance. And so if it ever gets published, you will know it will have love in it, and romance and kissing. It's true, isn't it? Cell phones fix everything. And if you don't have a cell phone, you go get a new one. I mean, it's not that hard to fix that problem. So yeah, I need to figure out a good ending to my contemporary if it's ever going to be published. And let's see. I do have okay, bye Becca. I have other books in the works, kind of in outline, half outline form. One of them, oh no. So I have another standalone novel that I'm in the middle of working on, well, outlining, that takes place in the Midwest, and it has a lot to do with the Great Lakes. I'm not really going to say much about that one because it's like so far out, like probably, who knows when that'll be published, but the next one, a Reckless Pursuit about Roxy, will probably be sorry, my husband just texted me and said one of our cats has been missing since yesterday outside in the woods, so I'm kind of distracted now because I'm really worried about him. His name's Pumpkin, if you want to pray about Pumpkin coming home. Let's see. Oh, writing a good kissing scene. I don't know. I don't know how to describe writing a kissing scene. I just know that everything has to be just right. And I remember writing my first kissing scene for The Hesitant Heiress. She was so against him. Like, nope, I'm not gonna ever go there. And so getting her to kiss him was like, wow, how is she ever going to let him kiss her? But I figured it out. It's super fun to figure that out, because it's like, oh, finally. It's not, my characters just don't go around kissing everybody. They're like, no, not gonna do it. And then I get them to do it, and it's like, oh, wow, okay, that was nice. So maybe that's why everybody likes it. I don't know. There's lots of resistance. It's not hard to write a kissing scene, but I usually think about it a lot. I think about everything about the kissing scene for a long time. Like, it's part of the whole, like, where's this book starting and how do we get them to kiss? And that's a big hurdle for them. And it's part of my process. The whole outline has the kiss, the first kiss at least, is a giant piece of the plot. Like, where do these fences get leveled? Oh, my favorite kissing scene in a book. Let's see. Probably what comes to mind is in Jody Headland's book, The Noble Groom, or A Noble Groom. I love that book. I love the cover. I love the whole story. I love the kiss. I love everything about that book. And gosh, I read that a long time ago, but I haven't read it since. But oh, that's a good kissing scene. Gosh, I don't have a lot of time to read anymore, so I don't have a lot of things to like pull from my recent thoughts. Gosh, Jody Headland always does a good job kissing scene with the yeah. Where is my brain? I can't think. What kind of program and computer? Okay. I have a MacBook now. I had a Toshiba that weighed 3 pounds, and I loved it because I'd take it everywhere. And it died on me the day that the Cautious Maiden released. And it, like, just, it was an awful time. Blake was, like, 4 months old. We just moved to a brick house in the middle of nowhere that was hardly livable because I was so old and needed so much help. And I think I was going through postpartum, and then my laptop died on the day my book came out. So it's painful to think about that time. So for a while, because the house needed so much work and was like taking so much of our money, I couldn't have a laptop for a while. And so that was part of me feeling like God was really just telling me that I just needed to stop and not write for a while. And so when Blake was when Blake was a tiny baby, and until he was like 1.5 or something, I didn't write anything. I did get the MacBook in there just because it felt like, okay, I'm not a writer if I don't have a laptop, right? How is this even possible? How can I be an author without a laptop or a computer anywhere? Like, am I supposed to just write on my phone? Which is something I do, but that's not all I want to do. I actually use Pages on my MacBook, and it's on my iPhone. And so, like, whether I'm writing on my phone or my MacBook, it's always up to date. Like, as long as there's internet connecting those two things, they will always be up to date to what I left it as. And I just love that so much. And I think I have Word on my MacBook, but I think it, like, screws up my MacBook when I try to use it. I kind of love my MacBook, and I kind of don't understand it yet. I've had it I probably had it for 1.5 years, but I didn't really use it for the first 6 months that while I owned it, because I wasn't writing. I've always had PCs too, and I don't know, all computers are frustrating, so it doesn't matter what kind, I guess. I like the MacBook. I like how tiny it is. It's very small, and I love small and light. And my first laptop was like 10 pounds and a Dell. It was me carrying it around everywhere, and I was like, oh, this is too much. Hi, Nicole. What is your dream as an author? I think it's a dream come true just to be published at all. Because getting published is hard. And I never was going to self-publish because I just don't understand it. And I just have too many other things going on. And I have ADD in the meantime. And so I just wasn't going to go there. And so I just thought if I pitch this book to agents and something happens, then good. If nothing ever happened at that conference that I pitched it at, they would still probably just be on my computer just for me and my friends to read. And that's kind of what I did even before I had an agent. I was just giving it to my friends to read, and they were just like, wow, you should really take this somewhere. And I mean, people might get that all the time, and maybe they're lying to them, but my friends generally were just shocked. Like, they were like, this seems just like a book that you would get at the store. Like, well, that's the point. Maybe they read some other books that weren't so good before, I guess. I think some of them had, and they were just kind of like, yeah, okay. But with mine, they were pretty encouraging. And so that's kind of what helped me go to the conference with a little bit of confidence. I didn't really have a lot of confidence. I actually was about to, cancel all my appointments with the agents at my first conference, and I just felt like, oh my gosh, there's 700 other people here trying to get published, and what makes me think that the one book that I wrote is any good compared to all these people that have been doing conferences for years? And so yeah, I had a paid critique done of my first 30 pages of my first book. And so that appointment was the day before the appointments at that conference. And that was very encouraging because she that historical romance author actually told me that it was really good and it was better writing than some books that had been published already. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll go to the agent appointment. Let's see. My beta readers. I don't know. I think I just randomly ask people. Joanna Politano always reads it first, and Susan Tuttle. Those are my, main people. And then I had Rachel read, Rachel Fordham read Enchanting Nicolette, and so did Carolyn. Who else read it? I don't even remember, because I was just random, hey, will you read this? I don't know. I guess you're my beta reader, Carolyn. And you're also endorsing it. How does my ADD? Yes, I don't take medicine because the medicine for ADD actually completely cuts out all the daydreaming and creative thinking that goes into writing. And so I haven't taken it ever since I was 32. And it was funny because as soon as I felt I got married, and if I get pregnant now, I don't want to be on this. And so I stopped taking it. And that's when my brain just exploded into all these ideas I hadn't thought about since I was in high school, because ADD medicine just is do this, do this, do this, do this. And you just do what you're supposed to do. And there's no time for thinking otherwise. And so, let's see. Yeah, it really sucks to cut all the daydreaming out. I just felt like I hadn't thought about writing since, let's see, I started taking Ritalin in high school, in 1994. And that was all there was Ritalin back then. And so I started taking it, and it made a giant difference in my grades and me being able to go to college, at Taylor University. But ever since I started taking that when I was 17, it's the whole part of me that thought about writing books was gone. And it was just one of those things where it's like, wow, I thought I would write someday, but I guess I'm not. And then when I stopped taking it, when I wanted to try to get pregnant, that's when it was just like, oh my gosh, remember? I wanted to write a book. Oh my gosh, how did I forget that? So it was really weird. It was like, it really just took all the desire and all of the ability and creativeness completely away. Is it hard to parent with ADD? I think so, yes. It's hard to write and parent with ADD, but I love both of those things, and so I get them done. I have 2 little boys, and they're 4 and 2, and I've always wanted to be a mom. And so I got married when I was 28, and I didn't have Rhett till I was 36, and I had Blake when I was 39, or just turned 39. And so, yeah, I love both of them. I love parenting, and I love writing. And so, and I'm sure if I took the medicine for having ADD, I probably would be like a more put together mom. But I'm just the all over the place mom, I guess. That's just how I have to be there. What temperature is it? Probably 45. 48. It's 48. So, let's see. Yes, I love how authors help each other. Let's see. Yeah, it's a nice fall day. I could go outside, but I'm tired. I was up from 3 to 5 in the morning this morning because someone was cold, and I woke up and covered them up and then was not able to get back to sleep because that's part of being 41. Let's see. I hate comparing myself to everyone else, and it's hard to not do it. Like Carolyn, you just, here's your debut novel, and like, how many books do you have out now? How do you do that? I'm like working on, I just did number 5, and, well, I mean, I guess it's a blessing that I was able to have the first 5 books I ever wrote be published. But now that, like, everything is so complicated with, like, having children and everything, it would be so nice to have, like, manuscripts just piled somewhere that I could just go fix up or something instead of just starting from ground zero every single time. So, yeah. And, let's see. I don't know. I think I'm not so stressed out about publicity now. Like, when my books were first coming out, like, when you're a debut author, you're like, nobody knows who I am. I am nobody, but I wrote a book, and it got published, and I'm still nobody. So, it's really hard to go through those first years, and I'm sure you know how I feel, Caroline, since you became an author, and Rachel, you guys have both come up after me. Let's see. Yeah, you're so lucky, Carolyn. And I love your covers so much. I love your covers too, Rachel. Yeah, the nobody debut status sucks. But that's why I love helping other debut authors. Like I've helped so many of you because I know how it feels. Like Pepper and, I mean, you guys, Carolyn and Rachel, and I can't think of who else I've helped, just by, like, you know, getting your name out to my readers and say, like Joanna, her books just came out recently. And so, I love telling my readers about new authors that aren't anywhere yet. I mean, you just start out with nothing, like your name on a book, and that's what you start out with. And so it's really hard to, like, be the name on that first book and get through that debut author stage. Yeah, I kind of agree, Heather. It probably is a little easier to just start out at ground zero, because my second book, actually I started writing The Hesitant Heiress in 2010, and then by the end of 2010, or by October, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I just needed to take a break. And so then I took Meredith out of the book one, and I said, I'm going to write a book about her. And I took November of 2010. I did NaNoWriMo, which is going on right now. And I was not a mom, and I was not working. So I could actually do it. And so I wrote The Bound Heart during NaNoWriMo that year. And I actually probably only wrote half of it. And I wrote it a little bit different. But then when I signed with my agent a year later, I was like, hey, I have book two half done. And so when I was finished with The Hesitant Heiress and I was ready to start another book, my agent told me to just continue on with book two because she was pretty sure the books were going to sell. And so I did have to fix it up a bit, but generally, no matter how I write a book, like, it's almost always been different. It always takes about 9 months for me to write, from first idea to finish the book and give it to people to read. Yeah, NaNoWriMo. I will do it again someday, because, like, with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and yeah, they're a job. Let's see. I agree, Karen. I love how the Christian fiction community just shares so much of, like, oh my gosh, if you haven't read this book, you should read this author's books. So, let's see. Well, thank you, Martha. I try to be encouraging. I remember when I was at ACFW with you, I think I talked your ear off, didn't I? Let's see. I'm so worried about my cat. He ran out of the door yesterday morning, and now he's never been gone this long. Silly cat. We have coyotes and mountain lion, I think, in our neighborhood too, so I don't know what's gonna happen. Okay, let's see. I am going to be at the CFRR next year in Maryland. I was at it last spring, and it was super fun. So as soon as the author thing went live, I had a alarm on my phone that said, stop whatever you're doing and do this now, because it is going to be, like, filled up in no time at all. So I got in there, and I will be there, even though it's in Maryland, and that would be me traveling to Maryland all by myself, and that's kind of scary to me. I mean, it's just a flight, but I just don't do that very often, so it'll be weird. You will love it. Oh my gosh. Christian Fiction Readers Retreat is like the most amazing thing that anyone ever thought up for readers. Hi, Carla. So yeah, I'm excited about it. And it's really neat to, like, meet some of my reviewers. Like, I've met a couple of you at ACFW conferences, even though I haven't been there since 2015 when The Hesitant Heiress was a finalist in the Carol Awards. I really wasn't going to go that year because I think Rhett was a year and a half old. And I wasn't going to go, but then you can't not go when you're a finalist in the Carol Awards. So, but of course, you know. Kate won, which I knew she would because I read her book before my book ever came out, and I was like, oh my word, this book is a debut the same year mine is. I don't have a chance of winning. And it's funny that I was even a finalist right next to her. But I knew she was going to win. Her book was amazing. Hi, Jessica. Yeah, let's see. I live in my hometown, and I have a lot of relatives here who will take my children for an afternoon while I go to the library. Or I go wherever. My car works, like it is right now. My car is working as my temporary little office. Let's see. Yeah, I feel like my 4-year-old, I seriously was trying to get pregnant for 8 years. I never did like infertility stuff. I just was like, okay. The doctors were basically like, you should be able to get pregnant, so we don't know why you're not. And I didn't want to stress myself out. And so I just trusted God and said, okay, if God wants me to have children, they will come when He wants them to come. And whether that's when I'm 28 or 45, whatever, I just do better with not stressing myself out. And so, yeah, there's no way I was writing when my babies were 10 months old. When Rhett was, let's see, when I first got pregnant with Rhett, the first baby, I was halfway through the 3rd book, this one, but it was not contracted yet. And when I got pregnant, I got super bad baby brain. I mean, having ADD makes me feel like I have baby brain all the time anyway, and then baby brain just made it a million times worse. And so I wrote maybe 20,000 words during my 2nd trimester of being pregnant with him, because, you get your brain back a little bit then. And then I think it was at the same time that I got the book contract for the first 3 books. And so I kind of felt motivated, like, oh, I better work on this because I'm only half done. And so, yeah, I didn't finish that book until he was probably, well, he might have been 10 months old, 10 and 11 months old. I think I was trying, and I don't even know. I think God finished that book for me, honestly, because I don't know how I did it. But it needed to be done fast because I hadn't done it. I hadn't been writing when he was a baby because it's just too hard. And then it was due, and I just needed to get it done. Let's see. I don't think I drink a lot of coffee. I drink like 3 or 4 cups a day. And honestly, when I'm writing, I kind of forget to eat because I'm so like in the zone. Like before I had children, I didn't write every day, but on the days that I did write, I would sit in front of my computer for like 8 to 10 hours and just be lost in my book. And I'd forget to eat. And then my husband would come home and I'd be like, oh, food. Okay, I'm back in my world now. I guess I have to feed people, myself included. So yeah, I think coffee. I make it taste like a Starbucks drink. I do like to go to coffee shops, but they're loud. There's so many. Ugh, they're just so loud. I like to go there to get the coffee, but then I take it to the library where I can be in a quiet room, locked away from everyone else. Am I supposed to wrap it up now? I don't know. Isn't that funny, Heather? Like, I honestly feel like I don't know how that ended. I don't know how the book got finished, but it did. That's great, Jessica. That's exactly what happened with me. I was so shocked. I was like so into writing. Like I had 2.5 books done. I had the Hesitant Heiress done and the Bound Heart done and half of the Captive Imposter done by then. And so I think I just needed to think about something else. And God made it all happen all at the same time. Books and babies. But yeah, that's why I sent in another proposal for book 4, because I was like, well, that's not ever going to happen again. It took forever to get pregnant. And so I probably got pregnant a month after I gave them that proposal. And then when you're pregnant, you just sleep. You don't do anything productive. And so I made it happen. Like, they gave me the book contract, and so I wrote it during my second trimester when I was pregnant with Blake. And I'm not having any more children. I'm 41 now. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old at 41, and so I'm just not gonna do that anymore. Even though if I had 10 years earlier, I would totally have had more, but not now. Thanks, Martha. I know, it's kind of nuts. Am I supposed to wrap up now? I don't know. It was fun. I've never, ever done a live video until today. But now I feel like it's fun, and I can do this all the time now. I guess I'll just sign off and say, I'll pick winners. I'm not sure how many winners. It depends on how many comments there were, I guess. I don't know. I'll put details about the giveaway or something. And also, there is a blog tour going on for Enchanting Nicolette right now. And there's a gigantic, like, Jane Austen themed giveaway. Go to justreadpublicitytours.com or go to my Facebook page or my Instagram. There's links to the giveaway. It's this book plus a ton of other stuff. And also some other people are giving away my book right now. I will be giving away those prizes, and I'm also giving away a couple books here. I'm giving away this too. It's nice to see everyone, and I'm really glad that we did this. And I guess I'm gonna go now. I probably need to join my children again. They're probably inside saying, "Where's mommy, 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 mommy?" Because, they love me, and I love that. Well, thanks, Angela. I know I was scared mine was going to die, and I have it plugged in my car right now. All right. Well, I'm going to go, and I'll see you guys all on Facebook. See you later.